Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Roundup. This is episode number 2 of our special series called On the Field. Today, I have a special guest. His name is Michael Lark. He's a 22-year veteran of the U.S. military Army, and he is a current marcher in the Reading Buccaneers. He has dedicated 27 years of his life to drum corps, and here we go. Welcome to this podcast, Mike.
Hi, Dylan. How are you? It's great to be on.
I'm great. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. I was so excited when you asked me if I would come on and do this with you. You've been a long time follower of my podcast, and I was 100% on board hopping on to talk to you and
Yeah,
go through this.
definitely. Yeah, drum corps is just great, and talking podcast host to podcast host, it's just awesome.
Yeah,
It's
it's
fun.
totally fun. And
Oh
what's
yeah,
better? The only thing better than doing it is talking about it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
All right, so Mike, let's jump right in here. How did you get involved in marching arts, and what was your inspiration to jump right into drum corps 26 years ago, or however long
yeah,
it was?
yeah, it's 26, 20. What is 27? I have no idea. So like all of us that are musicians, we started out in fourth grade and went through middle school. I was fortunate enough that my school district had a middle school marching band program. Um, so I started marching in the seventh grade. I guess I was 10, 11 years old, whatever it was. And then right into high school. And I knew once I got into high school that was it was like a place for my people, you know. I was I fit in best there than I was anywhere else. So I kind of fell in love with that, and I'm a super competitive person. Obviously, I spent 20 some years in the military. I'm very athletic. I like to move around and play. I played a lot of sports as a kid, but it didn't satisfy my musical like love and want and desire to kind of go down that road. So I was doing high school marching band, and then um, like many people do, I knew nothing. This is pre this millennia. There was no internet or anything else to find drum corps. I didn't never heard about it. I had no idea it even existed. And I was at our high school's home show, and there was a booth, out there promoting for all you people out there that do that hard legwork, and they go to all these high school shows, and they go to colleges and everything else, and they're just like standing there waiting for kids to come up and talk to them. That's how I got hooked. Like I was a tuba player at the time, and I saw a big shiny tuba, and I was like, What is that thing?" I was so enamored by it. I was so excited. They let me pick it up, and I was like, "I have to play this thing." And they gave me a flyer, because it's 27 years ago. They gave me a flyer and said, "Show up at this time at this date." And I went to my first camp in November of 1997 with the Reading Buccaneers. And from that day, I just never stopped. I was just going and going and going. I loved it. I loved the vibe. I loved everything about it. I loved how physical it was. I just loved it. So here I am, 27 years later, through three different drum corps, four depending on how you want to look at it, and uh, my march with my kids now, and then all this other stuff too. And I'm still going because I'm a glutton for punishment, and I love it so much.
Huh. Yeah, that's awesome. So, what drum corps were you part of?
So I've been with the Reading Buccaneers. I was there from '98 to the '98 season to the 2009 season. Then I took a little bit of break because I had children. I was focusing on my career. I didn't get back to drum corps until 2015, and I had a previous person that I marched with in Reading. She was teaching at Fusion Corps out in New Jersey, and said, "Hey, we had somebody that got hurt late season. Do you think you could come in and do 4 or 5 weeks?" I talked to my wife, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I could do 4 or 5 weeks. That sounds like a lot of fun." And Fusion Core was great. It was very inviting. They were an awesome organization to kind of reintroduce myself after a pretty good break out of the activity, to kind of maybe think about, is this something I can do again? And then I took a year off in 16 and 17. They did the same thing. They called me and said, "Hey, we have a spot open. It's like late July. Do you want to come in and do that?" I said, "Sure." So that was kind of like my fall back into there. I did 4 years of Fusion Corps. I was a horn sergeant there in 2009, or excuse me, 2018. Uh, and then COVID hit. I was deployed again. I went back to Iraq for a third time, or it's my third tour to Iraq for my second time. And when I came home, I was looking to March. I wanted to go back to Reading. I think I was at the time where I could start to commit my weekends a little bit heavier to, yeah, and physically I was more prepared to kind of take on that drum corps, because if you follow the all age activity. It's a pretty, they're a pretty aggressive. Reading is pretty wild, and but they weren't fielding a core. So another friend of mine that I marched with at Fusion for a couple of years said, "Hey, I'm actually up with the Caballeros. Do you want to come out there?" And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, I want to come out there." Reading and Hawthorne have been fighting for since they've been alive. And I always was enamored by their energy and what they do, and just the whole core vibe was so like, not, it's a different but same. It's hard to explain. And I reached out and they said, "Sure, we'd love to have you. We have a spot open." And I got off the plane after 14 months of being in Iraq, Memorial Day weekend. I kissed my wife and kids, and I was like, "I'm going to go to practice." It's like my first day off the plane from a 14-month tour, and I drove 2.5 hours to Hawthorne, and I shook hands with everybody. I said, "Where's my drill?" And I just started getting into it, and I spent the rest of the summer there, and I absolutely loved my time. And then the following year in 22, I went back to Reading, and I've been there since then, and that's where I am now. I'll be there again next year, hopefully, as long as I make the line. You know, got audition still.
Yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to bring up. How is the audition process for returning members versus new members? Do you have to go through all the same steps to um as a new people, or is it different for returning members?
No, it's the same for everybody, even the returning members. We have the same audition pieces. We do excerpts of our and who knows what it's going to be this year. I know last year when we did our auditions, it was excerpts of the exercise book. They give you out the exercise book, and we don't really start auditions until like second or third camp. The first couple of camps are, I don't want to say free camps, but they're like, come and check it out, hang out, see what's going on, and then uh, but everybody goes through the same thing. There's a visual audition, there's a music audition, there's I don't want to say movement, but like, they watch you do whatever is necessary for the core that year. If we're going to do a certain kind of body movement, if we're going to hold the horn a certain way, whatever the design staff decides to come up with that season. Um, if it's a critical part of the show, they're going to make sure that you can achieve that, or at least begin to understand how to achieve that. Um, I will say, um, with most all age activities and any other core I've been in, it is very rare that people get cut. I would say not that it, it's just one. I want to say it's like a part of the process. But if we came down to it, to whether we actually had enough people to actually start cutting people, I'm sure that the audition would be a little bit more there. I think it's just more of a check the box to make sure that if we do have too many people for whatever reason, that we can do that. And I know for a fact that there was a couple people that didn't come back last year, and I said, "Hey, go to this drum corps, go over here, go audition with this corps." I reached out to the people I knew in those corps and said, "Hey, you know, this is a great person. You want to give them some of your time and see if they fit your energy, your vibe, your Bush and Cabs and Fusion, everybody else. It's just kind of local in the area. So it's the same.
Cool. What is like? I know you have been a part of R- Reading for a couple years. How many people come to auditions? Like how full? How many people show up for auditions? Because I know the number is 128. Like how many are at open house when you have it?
I mean, we had a very large open house this past year. I think we had like 100 horns show up, and I mean, drummers are always out of control. Those guys. There's like 47 snare players that signed up or whatever it is, and bass drums and tenors, and um, so we do have a lot. But I think that there's a lot of people that come to open houses that are looking for uh, different things. You have a lot of kids that showed up membership day and said, "I'm just here because I want to see what it's about." And their parents already told them, like, they knew exactly that they weren't coming back. I would probably say 4 to 5% of those kids, they came in, they were 14, 15 years old, love drum corps, just trying to, "Hey, this isn't easy and it's close to audition. Let me go hang out with the big boys and girls and see what it feels like." And they knew they weren't coming back. There is probably a handful, I'll say 10 to 20 of those members they were just coming back because they're vets of the organization and they just want to hang out. You know, I know for a fact there were at least 10 people on the horn line that they knew they weren't going to march. They came in and said, I'm not marching this season. I just want to see what the show is. I want to be a part of I want to play membership day. I just kind of want to hang out with friends and do whatever. And they do all the things they're supposed to do, but they're there. So we do have a lot of people come out, but a lot of it is, a lot of there's a lot of people that we don't see back at second camp, if that makes sense.
Okay, cool. Do you know when the membership day for this year is?
Whatever the last Sunday in the month of November is. It's so we have Thanksgiving, and then Saturday is our banquet. Reading does their banquet every year after on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and then Sunday is our membership day.
Oh, very cool. So, how was marching this year as a part of DCI All Age versus last year in DCA?
I mean, there's some changes, some of the rules and some of the things, uh, DCA has always been traditionally a senior corps, so we kinda I don't say we do it we're always have safety in mind, obviously, with the members and everything else, but there are some different rules that are set by DCI to kinda protect members and to kinda do some things. So there was a little bit of adjusting, from a practice standpoint, from an amount of time standpoint, from, can we do this? Can we do that? Um, what can we do with our props? So there was a little bit of learning curve. I think everybody went through that this year. So there was a little bit of I wouldn't call it frustration. It was, can we do this? And then there's a lot of looking it up. As before, we would just do it. Um, and then I think this year has been a great experience for the all age activity because we've had so much more publicity, for the activity. I don't know if you saw just recently on Facebook, Flow Marching posted up a little thing and about Reading and was like, "Hey, give them another, shout out and a hand." And like, we don't get that from the all age activity very often. I saw
Mm.
Cab had a shout out, Fusion had a shout out a couple of months ago. Like, very rarely does the all age activity have an organization like Flow Marching or DCI that has the following on the social media side really promote them at all. This is the first time for that. And we've seen a significant uptick, all the corps. I've seen a significant uptick in interest in members, in people showing up to camps. I know membership for next year is already, most of the people and friends I've talked to said they're already higher um, than they usually are as far as people who are interested in signed up for membership day, those kind of things like want packets. It's helping us grow significantly now that we're part of the all age act, DCI.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot this year too. Like, I really didn't honestly, watch DCA much last year, but with it being on Flow Marching now, I can watch it and view it, and then that it also shows what the world who watches drum corps, what these all age corps are doing, and a lot of excitement is building, and I can't wait to see the sizes of the groups that are smaller if they're going to get bigger, and I think it's just great for the activity as a whole.
Yeah. I think it's only going to get bigger. I'm very interested to see what DCI continues to do with us. That's been the question for all the um, old heads out there like myself and some people are older than me going, is this the death of all age activity or is it the rebirth of it? And um, I believe it's the rebirth of it personally. I think it's gonna come in different shapes and sizes than we're used to, and I think it's going to evolve over time, but as far as I can tell, DCI has had a very strong commitment to us and the all-age activity to helping promote us and to helping us become strong members and giving us core advice and, what's great is that the directors conference, I think, is going on in next week or sometime soon. I think it's in October where all the directors from all the DCI corps go out and they meet and they talk about changes and they talk about the future and they do the things the corps directors do, right? And last year was the first year that our corps directors were ever, invited to that. That's a DCI specific only thing. So now you have some representation at the big table at DCI, world and all those things to kind of go, hey, we're a viable part of this organization. We want to be supportive of you, DCI, and we want to find a way to coexist. and figure those things out. So I think that the growth of the activity is only just going to keep going up.
Yeah, I mean, you can already tell even with the groups that are coming through the evaluation portal and how that's going to grow more groups as well. And hopefully there's more groups that are be going through the evaluation portal as well.
Yeah, I hope that there are. I was really excited. You just had on your podcast last week or the week before, maybe now, depending on when this comes out, the Northern Lights um, core director and assistant core director, and the Steel City guy. His name is eluding me. He reached out to me too,
It's Ben.
and yeah, Ben, thank you.
Yep.
Uh, that Steel City is a long storied organization that's been up and down over the years, and I hope to see them come back and be, the a really viable asset to the west side of Pennsylvania and into that Ohio group, because there's lots of Ohio groups right now, and that could be there's 4 or 5 groups that can do a very, very comfortable mini tours, around Ohio and be pretty successful in the activity, And, so I think, Minnesota Brass coming back, so excited for that. I competed against them for years and years and years, and I always loved their shows. I always loved what they were doing, and they have a pretty good organization. Minnesota, I think it's Minnesota Brass Incorporated. They have a really, really great product in Minnesota that helps. They have an indoor group, they have a percussion and a color guard group. It's still, and then a winds group too. So they have a good group. They just, you know, with everything else, it was tough to continue to compete in DCA because it didn't make any sense for them. Now it makes more sense for them to come back. So we're going to see growth, everywhere around.
Yeah, the growth is going to be a big part. I can't wait to see like the groups that like what the enrollment numbers are going to be with the classes and how that's all going to work out with like when they're going to do championships or how that's going to work and all that.
That's the biggest question, I think, really is where is championships going to go? This year was fine. There's a ton of learning curves going into championships. It was finals was very stressful to say the least, I think, for all the cores. It was one of those things where it's just a new process, and if you know drum corps, it is very repetitive, and we have every corps has their like flow and their pacing that they do through the season and through finals, and they've done the same thing for 20, 30, 40 years. So this year it being so dramatically different with the time it was in a brand new stadium we've never been in, indoors, which we've never done before. There was a significant amount of learning curves, and going from there too. And also, like, w- w- they put it where they put our finals the best place, the only place they really had available, really, which was the exact same time as the Sound Sport finals, which is a free event, and then we're a paid event. We still had a pretty good showing. There's still a couple thousand people at our finals. There was like 2,500 people that showed up for our finals this year, which is double what we were getting as DCA. So it worked, and we had a better showing. But are we going to continue to be in Lucas Oil Stadium, and when or what day? Those are the questions I think that people are curious to hear the answers to, because I don't think anybody really knows.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's probably me when they have the meeting in January when they're going to be doing all that.
Yeah, I mean DCI all ages on a 2-year test basically. So they knew going into last year and to this coming up season that things were going to be exactly this way. They negotiated that. They understood that that's what it was going to be. John Carr and his team, from DCA, kind of said, we need these two things. Let's figure out how this is going to work and what it's going to look like. Is it going to be successful? I think it was very successful this year. I'm very curious to see what it looks like next year, because the first year for anything is always a good thing. People came out of the woodwork to go march in the big house. Um, just one time. Like, I know there's members that are in our group that are like, "Yep, I'm done. I'm retired. I'm not coming back." And they are 10-year vets that, we're going to feel the loss of, but they stayed for an extra year because they wanted to go to Ohio, or excuse me, Indiana. Um, and now they're gone. So are we going to replace them, or I don't know. We'll see. I know all the cores are out there doing all their recruiting and doing everything. So if we can stay strong again for a second year in a row, I think DCI will see that and they will give us not what we need, but they will make us a very they'll make it worth our while for us to continue to keep doing what we're doing and it be successful.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really think that the whole joining of DCI and DCA is just great for the activity as a whole, and it's great. I really do. I think it's great, and just the exposure, everything from top to bottom. Yeah, there might have been some hiccups, but watching you guys on Flow on Championships Day was just awesome. And
Yeah.
then having the end of the night top 12, that was just right when in one right into another is just there you go.
I mean, it's a full day, I mean, for people at home, they were like people were like, but it was Saturday. It was because that's when our finals is a Saturday, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, Saturday.
So it was that they were like, yeah, they're like, we're going to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning and we're going to be watching live drum corps from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. People have big parties, and I hope I hope that it turns into a little bit like a Super Bowl kind of thing. It would be neat. I would love to see, I don't know, them taking the winning core from the our world class and maybe putting them on as an exhibition at the beginning or maybe in the middle when they're doing intermission. It's just hey, there's a 10-minute intermission. Everybody's going to go pee. Okay, nobody cares to sit and watch us. Like, it's okay, but we could have an experience where we have 20,000 fans in front of us, not just two. Or put us at the end. Like, hey, whoever the last core is on, they go on. There's always cleanup and there's everybody getting ready for whatever. We'll just go on then too, and we'll just play a little something something for the end and go from there. I don't know, with the amount of time and looking at the logistics and everything, I don't know sure what else more they can do. Um, Rather than, I mean, they're not going to rent the big house for one more day. That's just not going to happen. And there's just no more time to put us in anywhere else. So I don't know. We'll see. If there's enough groups that come out of this that become larger, like there used to be in DCI, or excuse me, DCA. We used to have 8 groups that were 120 members strong, which is the world class kind of size. And maybe they do the same thing. They do the the open class and the whatever the smaller groups, I can't even remember what they're called in DCI all age. The smaller group, the A class cores and the open cores. Um, Maybe they do their finals at where they do open class finals. Their open class cores. There's open class junior cores. You know, maybe there's a way to squeeze it in that way. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not sure what's best. But it's an option. You know.
Yeah, I was thinking this morning it'd be interesting to have like um all of all age have the um prelims with open class and then have finals on Saturday morning, if that would be an option. But
Yeah.
no, then that interferes with sound sports too. So
Yeah, or do you move sound sport to a different day? Make them a day earlier. That way there's no sound sport competing with them on Saturday.
true, true.
I don't know. Sound sport's a huge activity right now. There's 40, 50
Mm-hmm.
groups. So,
Yeah.
their cost is much more manageable. I was
Mm-hmm.
actually talking to somebody from the Blue Coats, the other day, and I was asking them like, "Hey, is Rhythm and Blue gonna go all age?" And they're like, "Why?" Why? It's just too expensive. Right now
True.
they can do basically they're inside for most of the time. So anybody that's feels doesn't do well with the heat or doesn't want to deal with it, you're basically on a parking lot, or you're in a basketball court, during the entire summer, and you could and it's just easier for rentals and for those kind of things. Finding full football fields and two or three of them at a location becomes expensive. Even if you had the members to pay the dues, it's still a cost associated with that. And if you already have a group that's kind of in the sound sport idea and they don't want to grow into the big arena, and there's no interest in it, then why do it? So
Yeah, exactly. I've been watching groups in the sound sport, and they have some really good groups. Like, they're
Yeah.
really impressive.
They're a ton of fun. They're
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
fun, like, I look at it all the time, like, when I'm done marching, which will be, I don't know, 2032 or something like that, I plan on that was my goal all the time was to retire at 50, and, 'cause
Okay.
I'm 42 now, I'll be 43 next year, I planned on marching 10 years, so I planned on going from 22 to 32,
Okay.
um, back with Reading, but neither here nor there, like, I'll just go do a sound sport group, you know?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's so much easier on the body. There's just less everything, you know?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I love sound sport. I thought it was a great idea when it came out, whatever it was, 10, 15 years ago now. And they started it. I was like, this is the best idea that DCI has had in years. So it's great.
Yeah, definitely. Really, definitely. What was one of the most exciting parts of the 2025 season for you?
The 24 season? Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Obviously going into the dome. I mean, it's for somebody like me who didn't get a chance to march DCI. Um, you know, I auditioned back in my age out was '04. I made cadets in 2003, and then was deployed to Iraq because I was in the first invasion in Iraq in '03. So I missed '03, and then I didn't get back until I don't remember May or June of '04. So it was already too late to audition and do anything else. So I missed all of my DCI time. It's one of my biggest like regrets not waiting another year or two before I joined the military and doing all that stuff so I could finish out my drum corps time. And so getting a chance to go in there and compete and be a part of that and be a part of the inaugural season of the all age activity, that's super great. That was really cool. I like the historical facts that go along with drum corps. It's one of my favorite things. So getting to be a part of the last group that won a DCA title and being part of the first group to ever win a DCI all age title, bookending those things was pretty neat. From a
Yeah.
point, I think it's pretty cool for me personally. I just think it's a neat thing.
And also, some big history too. You are the first son and father to win a
Yeah.
DCI title.
Yeah, I brag about that online all the time because it's such a stupid thing, and, because obviously it wouldn't happen anywhere else until this is the only year it could have possibly happened, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've marched with my son the last 3 seasons, and he was 14, 15, and 16 this year, um,
Wow.
yeah, he was young. He's a young man. He played tuba this year, which is my original horn. I don't play tuba anymore. I'm a mellophone player now, but, uh, I was super proud of him. He was having the time of his life too. Like him and I have, like I said, we've been together for 3 seasons now, just getting the crap beat out of us on a weekend. And, I watched him go from, absolutely being obliterated his rookie season, just fall asleep in the van the second we get to them, just dead because he's 14 and just getting lit up. And, from this year, he's like actually making it home and having a conversation with me. He's like finding drum corps. Before it was just this thing that dad did. Now there's pieces that he loves and there's things that he
That's
really gets.
awesome.
So it's kind of fun for me to watch him discover something I've loved for so long.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, so I get online all the time and I'm like, I do all kinds of crazy stats, all the time. I'm the last three-peat DCA winner too. I'm the only person because I won with Cavs in 21 and then I won with Reading in 22 and 23. So I'm the only person that can say that has a championship medal from the last 3 years of DCA. Like it's just stupid crap, stupid stuff.
Speaking of medals, Reading has been very successful since 2005. What has led to that success?
Uh, at the beginning, because I was part of all the years that we didn't win. I did 8 seasons before I won a championship with Reading, and uh, there were so many learning parts of the puzzle that I got to watch, like Reading, the administration figure out as time went on, and as I was a young man watching that grow, and then I stepped away from the Buccaneers for 13 years. I was My last season with them was '09, and my next season with them wasn't until 22. So I had a huge gap in there. And watching them win all those championships in those years, I can tell you, as somebody that understands, but I believe that I understand pretty well the entire all the facets of the of organization, is that the administration is the thing that makes them successful. It is how they choose to operate, and it is how they choose to treat people. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. And but when it's bad, it's corrected. Or when it's not in line with what they want to be or who they want to be, it's corrected immediately. And it's corrected because there's checks and balances involved in there. The Reading Buccaneers, to my knowledge, are the only democratic organization that exists in drum corps. We vote every 2 years in a corps director, a assistant corps director, a treasurer, a business manager, and a secretary. We have 5 administrative positions that are voted on by the members of the corps. Um,
Oh,
so
interesting.
yeah, and it's a cool little fact, and unless you're part of the Buccaneers or you never have been, it's a neat process. So what you don't have is when the core doesn't feel like the core proper, everybody in the organization doesn't feel like the organization is living up to its not its potential, but to who we are as a group, and feels like maybe there's some toxic behavior or some other things. It's very easy to get rid of people because they're
Okay.
there for 2 years, and we can just, "Hey, you're done.
Oh,
You've done
okay.
what you need to do. Thank you very much." And it's professional, and it's handled in a very diplomatic process, and it just goes about it, and you know, and then we move about our day, and then they move on and they continue to do those things. So, and there's a healthy process of checks and balances when it comes to staffing, when it comes to who makes choices, who makes decisions. It's a very, very well balanced, well organized, and oiled machine at the upper level. Obviously, members have to do what they have to do. That's not, we get different members all the time, right? But most of the core's organizational structure stays and has stayed relatively the same for significant amount of time and years, and they do good things. And when they don't do, like I said, they move on, and it's no hard feelings. It's just, hey, this is not what we need right now, and not what the core is doing, and they push those people on. Members obviously do all the hard work, the work on the field. But we're there because we love it. We're there to have fun and to enjoy it because we do drum corps. Those people are there because they love the organization. And if you look at any administration in any drum corps, that is the reason why they're there. They're not there because they just love competing or they just love marching. They're there because they love that organization and they want to see it be successful no matter what that entails. And there's different successes at different levels, obviously. It's not just about winning. Some cores thrive on member experience. Some cores thrive on a great product, and they don't really care where they fall in the placements. And then that's great. If you're in one of those organizations and you are in that mode, and you're doing that, then that's success. This medals are great. They're awesome. They're a ton of fun. Like I said, I'm super competitive, so I love winning. But I also spent 5 seasons in cores that didn't win, and I and 8 years with Reading when they didn't win. So 13 of my 20 some seasons, or 17, 18 seasons on the field, are not winning years. And I went back every single year, and I loved my time, and I enjoyed it. So while I love winning, I mean, it's great. It's fun. You see all the medals behind me right there. Like it's cool. But and those aren't all mine. Half of those are my sons. I don't have that many championships. Uh,
Okay.
but it's like I said, it's fun, and the core consistently producing. I would say the core staff and administration understanding their jobs and not getting into other people's business. And again, that checks and balances process is what makes Reading so successful over the years, consistently successful.
Yeah. It just amazes me that just weekend warriors and you guys can put a show on like you have been. I've been watching your show like on repeat and it's such a cool show. Like it's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I talked about it on my podcast. Robbie and I talk about it from time to time. it's this weird balance of, you said weekend warriors. It's a different process than it is DCI, the world class guys. They have all the time, not all the time in the world, but they have a significant amount more time than we do to kind of, I don't want to say beat their members up, but when you're there every single day, 12 hours a day, and you're just getting it in and learning and getting all these things and being so specific, that's great. When you're a weekend warrior, you have to kind of rely on experience. I've been doing this in a long time, so I know how to pace myself. I know how to balance. I know what I have to do leading up to it. If you don't get in shape for training camp, for move in on DCI, you will get in shape while you're there. Like there's no if answer buts about it. You're gonna get beat up while you're there, and you're going to be in great shape. You're going to be great drum corps shape in no time. 2-3 weeks, and you'll be fine. You can't do that here, right? You can't do that in all age activity. You have to take ownership on yourself and do things like go outside and walk or go to the gym or whatever your physical needs are. You've got to do those things. We understand that in this activity. And from a mentor and leadership standpoint, it's the same kind of idea. Like, Robbie's getting ready to go into his ninth season. He's, in his mid 20s, coming up when he was 26 or 27, whatever he is. And he has a a world of experience to offer to young members because he's been doing it for so long. Nowhere else in drum corps world do you get that kind of experience. You get it from staff. All right. But the staff's like anything else. Like you'll listen to them, but also you curse them out because they're not out there getting beat up the way you're getting beat up. you know, I still yell at staff, not yell at them, but like I'm still like, come on, guys. It's hot.
Hmm.
I'm pretty
Yeah, yeah,
tired. And they're like, you just give us one more, just give us because that's what they're supposed to do. That's their job. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
different when you're taking advice from somebody who's in the shit with you versus somebody
Hmm.
on the outside not sweating as bad as you going, come on, guys, you can do it again. Like it's just different. So that's a benefit for us when we don't have all the time available to do that. And it's like anything else, our staff understands the time restrictions. They are extremely good at putting together a productive weekend for us so that we can learn all the bits and pieces that we need to learn, and move through them and go and go and go and go. I mean, it is learning through a fire hose. You're getting a lot of information very quickly, and then they send you home and go, you better write all this stuff down. You better come back prepared next week and ready to go. And whatever that means for you, if it's working on music, working on your body, working on you know drill or whatever it is. So there's a lot of responsibility and a lot of faith that the staff puts in on us to make us prepared or to hope that we come prepared.
Okay. What is the typical rehearsal schedule that you guys follow?
All the DCI all age cores are pretty much the same. It's a once the beginning part of the season, the first 4 or 5 months of the season, it's every other weekend. Maybe every third weekend, depending on if you're a smaller group. But I know Reading does every other, Cabs does every other. And it's a Saturday, Sunday for the horn line. It's 9 to 9
Okay.
ish on a Saturday, and then it's like 9 to 4 on a Sunday. Um,
Okay.
and everybody pretty much follows that general schedule. Then once the season gets started, it's Friday nights. We come in Friday nights around 7, practice till about 10 or 11. Again, depends on the core. And then we're right back at it 9 to 9 or 9 to 11, 12 o'clock at night when shows come up. And then back on the field again on Sunday from 9 to 4, 9 to 6, depending, again, depends on the core. But that's generally speaking the weekend.
So, what does a typical, like, when you guys have a competition, what does that day look like from beginning to end?
So it depends. There's a couple of factors in there. Are we traveling via bus or are we driving there ourselves? Um, when we drive there ourselves, it's usually relatively close, so it's within 2 hours, I'll say. So, waking up is 5:30 in the morning, 6, so that we can drive and go get breakfast and do whatever we have to do and pile in cars and we are all expected to show up there on our own, and be ready to go for practice at 8, 9 o'clock, whatever time that we're supposed to get started. So, we get out of the car, you stretch real quick. The Viz staff, gets in there and stretches us out, runs us around, and then we start practicing. Um,
Okay.
when we stop that day's practice depends on when we go on. If you're on earlier in the day, then you stop earlier, obviously. Sometimes we go on first, So we'll stop at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then you know, there's the break, go get a shower, go eat. Uh, I can speak for Reading, and I'm pretty sure most of the corps work this way now too. On show days, the corps administration or volunteers feed us, so we get a meal, so we don't have to worry about preparing a meal. Um, so we get fed, and then it's suit up. It's go to warm ups, do the show, pack up everything, hang out. Again, if we're driving, most of the time people get in their cars and get out of there pretty quickly because if it's 2 hours away, that means I got a 2 hour drive home after a full day of practice, which sucks. And I got to get up tomorrow and Sunday and go do it again. Um, if I'm on a bus, that's different. Um, one, it's nice because I don't have to drive anywhere. So, a bus could be 2.5, 3 hour, 4 hour bus ride. If that's the case, sometimes we leave Friday night, or no, we haven't done any Friday nights in a long time. It'd just be really, really early on Saturday morning. Like I think we had a 4:30 pull out
Oh
one
wow.
one day. So it was Friday night. It was like, all right, 10 o'clock, we're done. Go home, shower, you know, catch a quick cat nap, pack your stuff up, and then um, get to the bus by 4:30. We're loaded by 4:15, or excuse me, 4:45, 5, and then we're on the road. And then same thing, we're on the field by 8. Stretching out, and the day is exactly the same. And then at the end of the night, uh, because we bust there, we can't leave until everybody leaves, and drum majors have retreat. So we hang out and just kind of talk and BS, and sometimes we get to see the other corps. And the nice thing is DCI all age is pretty small, so pretty much everybody goes to the same competitions. So like I have lots of friends in fusion, I have lots of friends in cabs, um, and couple in bush, and so like when we go there, I'm like I get to go say hello to all my friends. Hey, what's going
That's
on? It's a
cool.
very social process at that point. Um, and then we hang out, like I said, pack up, and then we're back on the buses, and we get off the bus like 2:30 in the morning. And then
Jeez.
you're like, all right, practice at 9. See you in 7 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it
I
is.
didn't realize it was so grueling on the show days. That's crazy.
Well, but the nice thing about show days is that you're not practicing the whole time. Show days are the
Okay.
best days. Like they seem like they're the worst days because of the time, but
Mm-hmm.
some of it's travel. That kind of sucks. But usually when you travel, you're traveling in a car full of people. So like I have a minivan, and like I've had 6 people in my minivan, and it's singing music, listen to drum corps shows, have a good time.
Oh, nice.
It's a bonding experience. The bus is the same exact. Buses are crazy. Every corps does the same thing. They're just people are out of their freaking minds on buses, and we have a good time there. It's a lot of camaraderie. It's a lot of esprit de corps building. Um, but we're done practice at like 2 or 3 o'clock, 3:30 at the latest at any show I think I've done. Even for
Okay.
like the Landisville show where we went on last, and we didn't have to pack up and move anywhere because sometimes our practice sites aren't where we're performing the show. So it's like a 20 or 30-minute bus ride involved in that too. Um, but like our first home show, we stay there. We don't have to go anywhere or do anything. So we were still done practice at 3:30. So, it's a nice long shower. I can go hang out. I can go see people. If people are showing up to the show, like I saw you at Landisville,
Mm-hmm.
I can go up and say hello to people after the show. I'm not in any rush. And that's a drive show too. So I had
Yeah.
to drive there. Just like an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes from my house. It's not that far.
Okay.
Um, but I can stay and hang out and socialize and kind of do anything I need to do, and then drive home, and then you just back to practice again on Sunday. You know,
Wow.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I
You're
bet. That's awesome.
tired on Sunday. Sunday people go home and they are tired. I know I am.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. uh,
It's crazy.
yep. It's great though. I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for 27 or 20, whatever it is. I don't know. What's 1998 till now. Um, and I don't regret any of those years. I love them all for different reasons. And I, I don't know what I would do if I stopped doing it. I don't know what I
Mm.
would do with my time. I love the punishment. Robbie and I say it all the time. We're just gluttons for punishment. Just love to get beat up. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what keeps you going, like on the worst days of drum corps? What motivates you to keep marching after so many years of just wear and tear on your body, but you still keep showing up every year to just keep marching and pushing and doing the thing that you love? What motivates you to do that?
for me personally, it's two-sided. Number one, it's for me. I love competing. I love performing. That's why I've never been a staff member. I don't want to ever be a staff member. I mean, and maybe I'll change my mind in the future, but Um, I I don't know that I could be around the activity and not want to be on the field. I watch DCI World Groups. I'm like, I want to do that. Like, and their shows are hard. And I'm like, I need to be on that field doing something with them. And I know I can't obviously, but like my immediate response is still desire to want to do that. And so for me, it's just I don't know, man. It just drives me. But my end of that is the beginning of my second thing, which is the kids. I love being around younger members, people who are younger than me, who I get to kind of feed off of the energy, the vibe, those kind of things. Like you can't stay young. I mean, you can't stay emotionally, mentally young and like in that love of life without being around other people who are in that same mindset. And one of my favorite things every single year at membership day is watching rookies or people who will be rookies that year discover the activity for the first time. It makes my heart 10 times the size, it's awesome. It's awesome because I know that those kids, one of those kids is probably falling in love with it the same way I did and will be here 27 years later when I'm old and curmudgeon sitting in the stands bitching about, hoverboards on the field now or whatever the crap that DCI comes up with. And you know, and I'll sit up there and I'll be like, I knew that guy. I knew, and I do. I have people who are in their late 40s who are, now in their 60s and 70s, who come up to me at shows because they come out every single year to one show. They come to our home show and I go, I cannot believe you are still here. And I go, yeah. I'm like, I can't believe I still remember who you are, 27 years later. And you build bonds with people that the age means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And you just go about your life and you just do your things. I was talking to a buddy of mine who our kids are the same age. My daughter and his son graduated high school last year and he's 60. And I was talking about going back to college and like kind of rediscovering life again at 42. And he's like, hey man, it's kind of going through the emotional process with him. He's like, man, I didn't have my first kid until I was 42. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that's crazy. And I was like, I can't even imagine doing that, right now. I couldn't imagine having a child at this age. Uh, and like, I just wouldn't want to, but that's also because I've already had my kids, I've
Hmm.
the whole thing. But he's like, it's like life isn't as short as you think it is, dude. He's like, there's more time. Like, keep going.
Yeah.
If you love it, keep doing it. And I was like, oh, you're absolutely right. So when those hot days come around, one, it's a challenge. It's always a challenge. I love a challenge. Like, can I keep going? Will my legs keep working? Number one. And two, some of it's a countdown. Like,
Oh.
yeah, staying young is great, but I only got so many more years of doing this.
Hmm.
When I was 20 years old, I was like, I'm going to live forever. It was easy. But now that I'm 42, like everything hurts all the time. My body just hurts constantly. I've had surgery on my knee. I had surgery on my knee last September. Um, and I through the 23 season, I thought I was going to die. I hurt so bad. And then I had surgery. It was great, and I got into better shape. And this year, like it was great until just about the end of the season. I was like, ugh, here we go again. My knee was starting to bother me again. I'm like, so, and I look at that and I go, is next year my knee just going to give out, or maybe my other one will, or maybe my back,
Mm.
or maybe my shoulder. Like I don't play tuba anymore, not because I don't want to, it's because of my shoulders are so bad. I have arthritis in both my shoulders. So will at some point my shoulders go, nope, we're not doing that anymore either. and will I just have to stop regardless if I was playing to go to 50? I don't know. I don't know if my body's going to let me do next day. The gym,
Yeah.
or the gym, eat healthy. I don't think I'm
I'm
supposed to.
getting some feedback, Mike.
So better.
No.
So you know what? I know this 1 second. How about now? Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Much
Okay.
better.
Sorry about that. I had my
No,
other
you're
mic
good.
on. Like at what point do I have to give it up because I have to, not because I want to or
Hmm.
choose to, but because I have to.
Yeah.
So with those hot days, I close my eyes and I go, I'm going to embrace the suck. It's only today. Last week was
Hmm.
beautiful. Today is hot. Okay. I'm only going to get better. I'm going to lose a couple pounds I wasn't expecting to lose today. I'm going to go back. I'm going to be lean. I'm going to, like, maybe my six pack will come in. I don't know. And you find ways to stay motivated, I guess, through it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love the whole all age activity. I think it's just incredible. The
Mm,
way the shows, even just people that have like minimal rehearsal less than you guys, and they still put on an amazing show. Like it's just amazing, and members from 12 to 60, 70 are marching, and it's like this is amazing.
yeah, it's. I look at it sometimes and like, I say this to Robbie all the time, and I'm like, I don't feel like the kids that are 16 to 18 years old are that much younger than me.
Mm,
I look at them and I go, "Oh, no, they're the same as me." You know, those are just
yeah,
they're 2 years younger than me, that's all. And not like in a creepy way, but like in an emotional process way. I look at that and I go, "No, they're the same as I am," you know, and
yeah,
they're fine
exactly.
because we're doing the same thing together, you know?
Hmm.
I think most members who are in my age range, uh, feel that way. You know, it's just a way to stay a kid, you know, and to be young and to feel young and to just do there's certain things in life that you love more than anything else, and you just refuse to give them up for as long as you can, and that's this for me, you know?
Hey, that's all. That's just inspiring. That's awesome. Like it's just really, really exciting.
Yeah. I'm happy you're enjoying the shows. It's great.
Oh
It's good to
yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
what you're doing. So,
Yeah, it's awesome. How has the army shaped who you are as a member and marcher of a drum corps?
um, phew, that's an interesting question. I would say I say this to a lot of people, especially kids that are they're looking to join the military because they talk to me about it quite frequently. I think drum corps did more for me being a soldier than being a soldier did for me being a great at drum corps.
Mm,
Um, yeah, drum because I started drum corps for years. I was in corps for 5 years before I enlisted, and yeah, I think four seasons before I enlisted, and it it taught me discipline. It taught me hard work. You know, there's this sensation of yeah, it hurts now, but it'll all be okay, you know? And I took that into the army, and then the army just kind of accentuated that a little bit, you know, because you go through some days in the military, you're like, "Oh my god." They're hard days. And, you know, but you learn this idea that what you're doing now makes all the difference for the later. You have to do it now. You have to it has to hurt. It has to be hard. It has to be difficult. It has to be challenging. Because if it's not, you're not going to see the best results on the other side. And I think that's a very common tone between both of those places, between the military and drum corps, is that it's supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? If it was easy, there we'd have 20 million people in our military, not 1.1 million. You know, like if it was easy, everybody would go out and just do drum corps. There'd be 50 drum corps that were top level drum corps. Like but it's not. It's hard. It's very hard. And the sensation of success that you get when you push yourself to the brink of difficulty and then come out the other side successful and stronger than you were when you began, and when you can connect those dots together and go, that's why we did it this way. That's why it was hard. This is what it is now. That I mean, there's very few places in the world that you get that kind of sensation and feel from something that's both not only mentally difficult but physically difficult. Um, so I think those things they parallel themselves very well. And as I was going through my career in both drum corps and in army, they were just things that I constantly would remind myself of and go, okay, yeah, this is going to be hard, but it's going to be okay. You know?
that's really cool. I was thinking about that question the other day. I'm like, ooh, that'd be a good question to ask.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great
Um,
question.
yeah. Any advice for people considering joining the all age activity, either that are new to drum corps in general or that have aged out of a junior corps?
Oh, I mean, the advice is probably different for both. I would say new people, it's a great place to gain experience. You know, there's this wonderful idea that you can come and be part of an organization that will hopefully never leave, right? Because you always have the opportunity to come back. We call come home. You know, with Reading and all the all age drum corps, they say come back home. Go to war. You know, go to do DCI and do your thing. remember, there's always a place for you here. Come back home, you know? And it's one of those things where if you can create an environment where people can learn and grow, become successful in the all age activity for a few years, and then take those skill sets and go to the world class, to live the dream of going on tour and playing in front of those 30 some thousand people at finals, like that is a very, very, I don't want to say it's a very the evolution of your experience and the evolution of your work is going to show up the best there. You can grab a lot from that. Um, my son is, we were talking about he wants to go audition for Phantom, and he's not the strongest musician. He's a very good marcher. He's pretty solid physically. And he's a tuba player, but he's not like he didn't do concert band in high school. He just did marching band, and that was it. He doesn't do jazz band. He doesn't do anything else, right? He just does it. He goes to our technical school, and he wants to be a mechanic. So like he's not your typical drum corps kid who's probably going to go off to school and do music ed or performance or anything else, because most of the drum corps kids do. My son goes there. I mean, he does drum corps now because he loves it. He did it then because I loved it and he wanted to be part of what Dad was doing. But now he loves it and he wants to have that experience. He's going to go and I said, "Do you want to go do Phantom this year?" And he goes, "I think I need one more year of experience at Reading. I think it's what I want. I think I don't think." He's like, "I don't think I'm capable." He's like, "I'm not sure that I'm ready for from an emotional standpoint, from a physical standpoint." He's like, "I want another year to grow. I want another year to get stronger on tuba. I want to take some more time and really grow in that." And I was like, that is a really, really intelligent, not only emotionally but mentally process for a young man, to go through and think about, and not to like so quickly jump into all the greatness, right? Take your time and build, and I was like ready to go. I was like, well, I'll take a season off, man. Cause if he makes Phantom or any other DCI core, I'm taking a year off and going on tour with him. I'm going to go work sous vide. I'm going to go, I don't know, I'll do something. I'm going to go support the core, whoever he marches with. And live vicariously through him. And, and just to support him all the way through all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, let's go next year to Phantom. That sounds awesome. I was so ready for it. And he
Hmm.
was, no, 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 I think I'm going to take another year. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. That's cool. That's just another year I get to play with him, which is great
That's
because
awesome.
he's going to move on at some point uh, move on with life. And this will probably be something that goes like he loves it, but not. I don't think he loves it the way I do. Maybe he does. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't speak for him, but I can see him moving on with life and kind of getting into some different things and
Hmm.
exploring a little bit more of who he is without Dad around.
Okay.
Uh, for those people out there that have never done the all age that did uh, junior core and that are like discovering all age for the first time and like, oh, is this for me? Come out, man. Like, what are you waiting for? Yeah. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you'll be able to do it. Like muscle memory will set back in. The activity is so similar to the world class activity, but it's I don't know what's the word I want to use. I think we're treated a little bit better than you are on tour. I think people remember so much of the difficulty of tour. Um, it's really nice to have a week off in between each drum corps weekend. You know, have 5 days to recover. You can go home, you can relax, you can stretch, you go back to regular work. You can have a job. You're not just abandoning all of your family and everybody for the entire summer. There's time. You're going to spend a significant amount of time doing drum corps, but you're also going to be able to go back to work. You're going to be able to do all the normal things that you're doing. You're just, you're putting this thing in there, and it doesn't have to be forever. It could just be for this year, and then you're done. Have the experience and move on. I've marched with lots of people who have come in doing the same thing we're talking about, and yeah, I marched Crossman in the 80s and, it's the late 90s. And, my wife said I could come out and do this now. So here I am for the season. And they came out, did 1 year, and that was the last I ever saw them. And there's some that came out 1 year and became Hall of Famers because they stayed around after giving it up for a long time. Our core director is one of those, or our last year's core director, Rich Strang, like he did Crossman in the 80s. And then all of a sudden, like 2012 or 13 or whatever year it was, he just like appeared out of nowhere. He's just like, hey, it's been 20 years since I marched, so I want to get back into it. Oh, and here's my kid. She wants to do it too. And he got the chance to march with his daughter, and both in the same tuba line, and got back into it. No, it was '09. I apologize. That was the first year I marched with him. Um, And but he just like this old guy just showed up out of nowhere. I'm like, who the hell are you? Like sometimes people just do, and it's awesome. And then that person is still here 15 years later, not just as a member, but as an administrator and as a core director. Like sometimes you find whatever you find in life just because you went and tried. You know, come out and volunteer, come out and be part of something. Like I interviewed Lois and Lou Tierno, who are Hall of Famers, and I've been in the activity for almost 50 years now, and they say the same. They say it the best. This is where my family is. This is what else would I do with my life? Because this is where all the people I know and love are. So this is where I come every weekend, and you can find that very quickly, very very quickly, with just one chance to taking one chance to come on out and check out any all age core, and you will find a home very very quickly if you want it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Lou's coming back as the director this year, right?
He is. Yep. Yep.
That's
He is.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. He can't stay away.
I saw that. I saw that. I'm like, you got to do another podcast having him on and
Oh
his
yeah.
decision to come back.
Yeah. He was on. Him and Lois are on already. I think I want to have him on at the beginning of the year and just kind of
Ooh, that'd be cool.
have him harass him about coming back as the core director. So
Yeah, I saw that job on Facebook. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
yeah.
Cool.
Listen, Lou. You know what Lou did this year? He was not an administrator on not an official administrator with the core at all. So you know what he did all summer? He came and ran the Doctor beat. He was just in the back of the field behind the drum line, just tank, 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 tank. I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? You're you're 60 years old. What are you carrying around a Doctor beat for? And
Uh,
he's like, I just want to be part of the core. And that's what I'm talking. The people like that, man, they are. You'll find them everywhere in the activity, but they're also extremely rare. And
mm,
they're just great human beings who keep what we love moving forward. And they're just people who fell into it who just never left. And that's all drum corps really is. Like come on out, check it out, volunteer. Every corps is looking for volunteers. You don't have to
hmm.
do it every single weekend. You don't have to do it all the time. Donate $5, donate a couple of dollars, or donate a little bit of time in whatever skill set you have. And, you will enhance the activity that we know and love just that much better.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, any thoughts as we start to wrap up the podcast here?
Um, oh man, just random thoughts. Oh, I have so many random thoughts. My ADD brains go crazy. Uh, I am. I don't know. I was just saying to somebody the other day, like I'm so busy right now this time of year, and like I don't know how I retired and got busier, and but I'm also like just chomping at the bit to get started again.
Mm.
I'm so excited. I have no idea what the show is next year. People ask me all the time because I'm an admin in the core, and I don't freaking know what's going on. Um, I show up at membership day, and like there's people who can find out. Like I know that it gets leaked here and there and everything else too, but I'm one of those people. I don't watch the trailers.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
want to show up to the show, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, yeah, what's it gonna be? I'm gonna march 200 beats per minute again. I'm gonna hate these people. Like I'm so hyped on membership day. I'm jumping around. I'm giving people high fives. Like I am. There's nobody in that organization or any organization that is more excited than I am on a membership day. I am just bonkers with excitement that day. I love it. So I think I'm really excited to kind of get back into it and kind of attack the season a little bit more. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year, I think.
What is your role on the administration
I'm the
for the core?
quartermaster. I'm the
What is
quartermaster.
that?
I take care of all of the equipment.
Okay.
So all the horns, all the keyboards, all the drums, all the guard equipment, all the amps and all that stuff. Like I have the master list of all that stuff. I count it all and make sure it's all serviceable and working and gets to where it needs to go. Sometimes that's me. I'm also, it's kind of tough. The core hates it because I'm really good. I'm good at what I do, but I'm also a marching member. So I kind of dual roles, and they would really
Mm.
love somebody. They would really love somebody that is just the quartermaster. So if there's anybody out there
Okay.
Reading Buccaneers quartermaster, come on out. You can happily have my job. I do it because I think I want to say no, it's a crappy job. It's not a crappy job. it's a job fitted for a very specific type of person. And
Okay.
I'm very organized. I'm very logical and logistic, you know, based in my function in my brain and how things work. So, um, so I believe I excel pretty well at doing that job, and I think I've made some good progress with the core. And like anything else, there's crap that's got to get thrown away at the end of the season. There's equipment that has like finals day. I was running around with the clipboard after we were like, "Yay, medals! Woo, we won!" I'm like, "All right, everybody, get outside and give me your crap," because I don't want to sit there for 7 hours trying to, track people down, collecting horns, and making
Mm-hmm.
drums get turned in, and what's broken, what's not broken, how many, 60 mouthpieces that are all over the place, and like, there's just stuff everywhere. So
Okay.
counting and doing all that stuff on finals. I was fortunate enough. I had a good team helping me this year, and like I was done in like 2.5 hours. It was
Oh
awesome.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. And I was pulling my hair out literally left and right. But the month leading up to finals, like I don't know what's going to happen. Like I paid good money for seats. I want to go enjoy this with my son as my son's first
Mm-hmm.
finals. Like I do not want to miss a second of finals. But I'm going to be outside like, where's this one tuba? Where is it at? This
Mm-hmm.
life. But it was great. And but I do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just make sure everything's counted for and everybody's got. And when they break horns through the season, I get them repaired and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Cool. Very cool.
Yep.
So, do you have any? I know you have a great podcast, and it's
Yeah.
called On Cycle.
Yep.
And they, if you're listening, um, we are an hour and 5 minutes in. Yes, it's crazy, but if you're listening, please go to On Cycle, visit their page because what Michael and Robbie want to do with any money that they get, they want to sponsor scholarships to help members that are marching next year.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate
Of
the
course.
shout out for that. Yeah, I mean, On Cycle's great. It's a little passion project that I put together and I asked Robbie to be part of, and him and I have been riding that train pretty aggressively. I've got great feedback so far.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we're really close to being able to start making a little bit of cash on it, and our goal is to take 50% of everything that we earn, and put it back into a scholarship, and or as many scholarships as we can possibly put together over the next couple of years. I'd love it to get to the point where I can, like my dream for the podcast, or whatever else it evolves into, is to be able to do a full member sponsorship for every drum corps.
That's
So
awesome.
all the way from DCI World all the way down to the smallest all age, whatever the
Okay.
co I mean, we're talking a lot of money at that point. When I say dream, that's a dream, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm. I would love to have just a national, like, whatever corps you're marching with, you can apply here, and I will pay 100% of your dues for that drum corps that season, and go from there. That would be what I'd love to see it evolve into, but, who knows, you know? If it
Yeah.
gets
That's
there,
amazing.
that's great, and it's all just because I just wanna see the activity succeed. That's it.
Hmm.
I love it. I just
That's
wanna make sure
awesome.
that when I'm 60 that I can, 1, still talk about it and people wanna listen to me, and 2, that I can give back to it so I can keep going to finals. That's it. I just wanna be able to I just want there to be corps there.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
just want drum corps to exist into
Hmm.
into my 60s and 70s so that I can just walk around and just, yell whippersnappers at people like, "All right, back in my day," right? Like, that's all I want. That's all I wanna do. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you're out there listening, go check it out. So I'm pretty proud of it and pretty happy with it. So, I hope you enjoyed as well.
Yeah. Well, Michael, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Such a great conversation. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Roundup. And hope you have a great night, Mike.
Hey, thank you so much, Dylan. Appreciate you.
Have a good night.
You too, bud.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Roundup. If you liked what you heard, you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. Also, please rate us, leave a review, write a comment, share us with a friend. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye bye.